The house was steeped in an oppressive silence following the funeral, each corner weighed down by the echoes of a life that had quietly departed. Alone at the dining table, I gazed into the depths of a half-finished cup of coffee, overwhelmed by a sense of disorientation that surpassed anything I had ever imagined. The burden of solitude enveloped me, a dense and persistent mist that refused to lift. Just as I believed the night would engulf me entirely, a gentle knock echoed at the door. With a mix of uncertainty and wariness, I unlatched the door to reveal my son's closest companion, his gaze brimming with an emotion I couldn't quite grasp, an emotion poised to alter the course of everything. The instant my gaze fell upon him, an inexplicable shiver coursed through my being. Under the glow of the porch light, Jason, my son's closest companion, appeared transformed. He had shed the image of the lanky teenager who once plundered our refrigerator and dozed off in the living room following epic video game marathons. He stood tall, broad-shouldered, his face etched with the seriousness of a man who had traversed the world and borne its burdens. For a brief moment, silence enveloped us both. The evening atmosphere enveloped us, heavy with unspoken words. "Text, I am sorry for your loss," he finally said, his voice resonating with a depth and steadiness that felt unfamiliar yet comforting. I nodded, speech escaping me. Grief had taken so much from me, my husband, my laughter, my sense of belonging, and now even my voice. Jason shifted uncomfortably, cradling a small container in his hand. "I brought you something," he added, extending his hand, revealing a simple, homemade casserole. It was a gesture so minuscule and yet so monumental that it broke apart the delicate barrier I had constructed within me. "Thank you," I murmured, moving aside to grant him entry. The house engulfed him in a heartbeat, as if it craved vitality and noise with an insatiable hunger. He placed the casserole on the kitchen counter and turned to me, worry evident on his face. "How are you holding up?" he asked softly, his gaze probing mine in a manner that made me feel truly seen, genuinely seen, for the first time in weeks. I offered a strained, humorless smile. "Enduring," I uttered, my voice faltering on the syllable. Jason paused for just a heartbeat, then took an unexpected step. He reached out and grasped my hand, not with a fleeting, obligatory touch, but with a grounding, steadying grip that sent a tremor coursing through my chest. I longed to withdraw, to sink into my shroud of melancholy, yet an inner force held me back. I craved the connection, a reminder that I was still very much alive. "Do you want me to stay for a bit?" he asked, his voice tinged with a hint of shyness, as though he feared crossing an invisible boundary. As I surveyed the vacant house, my gaze fell upon the photo frame still clinging to the walls, and I was enveloped by the suffocating stillness that bore down upon me once more. "Indeed, I mentioned earlier that I might overthink it." Kindly, we transitioned into the living room, a realm imbued with a blend of solace and melancholy. Jason perched on the edge of the couch, while I nestled into the opposite end, drawing a throw blanket snugly over my lap. For a brief moment, we lingered in silence, the gentle hum of the refrigerator and the sporadic creak of the aging house our only companions. It was peculiar how instinctive it seemed to have him by my side, serving as a connection between the life I had left behind and the ambiguous future that awaited me. Our conversation began with the ordinary, touching on his experiences at his new job and the transformations the neighborhood had undergone during his time at college. Slowly, the dialogue began to delve into more profound depths. He inquired about my husband, about what I yearned for the most. It was an unassuming question, yet it shattered something within me, releasing a flood of emotions. I discovered that I was voicing thoughts I had long suppressed, afraid that their burden would shatter me. I spoke of the laughter that echoed into the night, the serene mornings that unfolded in silence, and the exchanged glances that conveyed a world of meaning without uttering a single word. Jason absorbed every word, allowing silence to fill the space, refraining from any urge to mend or alter the moment. He simply listened, his attention so complete and present that it caused a pang in my chest. And then, as my words dwindled, he leaned in closer and said, "You are permitted to miss him while still yearning for someone else." The declaration struck me with such unfiltered honesty, such excruciating truth, that I found myself compelled to shut my eyes for a brief moment, seeking to regain my composure. I opened them to discover him nearer than ever, his face cloaked in shadow yet his eyes radiant. In their gaze, there was no trace of pity, only a profound understanding, a silent, unvoiced gesture of solace. For a fleeting instant, I sensed I was poised on the brink of something perilous yet exquisite, a force that could either mend my wounds or plunge me deeper into despair. My heart pounded within my chest, a mix of trepidation and an inexplicable readiness. It had been an eternity since someone had gazed at me in such a way, as if I were desired, not diminished. A sudden stillness enveloped me, and I could sense the charged air in the narrow gap that separated us. For the first time in what seemed like an eternity, I permitted myself to ponder the possibility that moving forward need not equate to forgetting. What if it signified the discovery of something fresh, something gentle and restorative, amidst the remnants of what once existed? Jason must have noticed the shift in my gaze, for he smiled, a slow, tentative smile that held within it a myriad of unvoiced promises. My heart raced with fervor. Uncertain of the direction this night would take, I found an unexpected sense of calm within me. Life coursed through me, and I stood poised to embrace the sensations once more. Jason moved just enough for his knee to graze mine, and that unintentional touch caught my breath in my throat. It would have been effortless to retreat, to forge a gap and feign that the moment had never transpired. Yet I refrained. I lingered in that moment, sensing the warmth where his skin brushed against mine, allowing it to fill the empty, frigid voids within me. His gaze lingered on mine with a deliberate intensity, offering me countless moments to withdraw, every possibility to decline. Yet I remained anchored in place, my heart thundering more fiercely than any words I might have uttered. Instinctively, I extended my hand and brushed against his, my fingers gently wrapping around his. His hand exuded warmth and steadiness, its slight calluses a sharp counterpoint to the quivering fragility that stirred within me. He responded by turning his palm upward, intertwining his fingers with mine. The gesture was so simple yet so intimate that it made my throat tighten with emotion. I had lost sight of the sensation of being touched in such a way, not from a sense of obligation or duty, but from a place of true care and presence. Jason moved in, closing the gap that lingered between us. His hand rose gradually with a touch of uncertainty to gently tuck a wayward strand of hair behind my ear. His fingertips brushed against my skin, and a shiver coursed down my spine. He regarded me for an extended moment, his eyes laden with significance. "You are so beautiful," he whispered, his voice thick with a reverence that bordered on the sacred. It had been years since anyone had spoken to me with such raw, unfiltered sincerity. The tears threatened to spill, stinging the backs of my eyes, yet I blinked them back, determined not to let them cascade down my cheeks. Instead, I surrendered to his touch, allowing his hand to gently cradle my cheek. The outside world faded away, leaving behind the sorrow, the isolation, the ceaseless stream of hollow sympathies, until all that remained was this instant. Just him and me, and the profound yearning that lingered in the air between us. He edged nearer, and I sensed the warmth of his breath brushing against my lips. A moment hung in the air, a palpable hesitation, as though he were offering me one last chance to retreat, yet I found myself unwilling to take it. I bridged the gap, softly placing my lips upon his. The kiss began gently, a cautious exploration, as though we both feared the possibility of retreat. Yet, as I leaned in to enhance our bond, he met my advance with an intensity that sent my heart racing. His arms encircled me, drawing me close, and in that moment, I experienced a profound sense of being held, truly and deeply. The kiss deepened, a fervent urgency enveloping us as though we were both striving to reclaim moments that had slipped away. My hand glided up his chest, sensing the power concealed beneath his shirt, the tangible essence of him anchoring me in a manner I had not understood I craved so fiercely. He withdrew slightly, his gaze locking onto mine, probing for any hint of remorse. Yet, what he would have discovered was a profound longing, an intense and undeniable desire to experience life anew, to be desired, to be acknowledged. "Are you certain?" he inquired, his voice gravelly and subdued. I nodded, speechless, and that was all the consent he required. He rose, guiding me softly to my feet, and directed me toward the staircase. Each step was heavy with expectation, and every look we exchanged was laden with unvoiced vows. As we entered my bedroom, my hands quivered, not from fear, but from the exhilarating anticipation of what was to come. Jason moved with a deliberate grace, a sense of reverence in his actions as he assisted me in shedding my cardigan. His fingers grazed my skin, igniting a warmth that lingered in their passage. He pressed his lips to the hollow of my throat, tracing the curve of my shoulder, lingering as though he wished to relish every inch of my being. I reciprocated, my fingers weaving through his hair, tracing the firm contours of his back, sensing the rhythm of his muscles as they tensed and relaxed beneath my caress. As he gently placed me on the bed, a wave of tenderness washed over me, stirring a deep ache in my heart. He lingered above me for a heartbeat, his gaze absorbing every nuance as if etching each detail into his memory. "You are incredible," he murmured, his voice laced with a wonder that made me believe it too, if only for tonight. The remainder of our garments faded away gradually without haste, each fragment cast aside, reminiscent of the shedding of bygone lives of lingering sorrow. His touch was not marked by the clumsy enthusiasm of youth, but rather by a profound, aching tenderness that rendered every part of me both seen and cherished. Each kiss, each gentle touch, each softly spoken word served as a soothing remedy for the scars I had concealed for ages. The physical connection between us crackled with energy, yet it was the emotional closeness that truly unraveled me. The way he gazed into my eyes, unwavering and steadfast, made me feel not broken or flawed, but deeply valued and adored. Our bodies swayed in a timeless rhythm, a languid, sensual dance that intensified, ultimately enveloping us completely. When I finally cried out his name, it was not merely a release I experienced, it was a rebirth, a reclamation of a fragment of myself I had believed was lost to time. In the aftermath, we found ourselves entwined, our breaths gradually synchronizing, the space around us enveloped in a gentle, golden hush. Jason's fingers glided over my arm, languid and gentle, as though he feared the moment would slip away. I laid my head against his chest, attuned to the rhythmic pulse of his heart resonating softly beneath my ear. For once I found myself unburdened by the suffocating grip of solitude. Instead, I experienced a sense of warmth, stability, and support. He placed a gentle kiss on the crown of my head and murmured, "You are not alone anymore." I shut my eyes and allowed the essence of those words to envelop me. In the course of a single night, Jason illuminated the myriad forms that love can assume, and revealed that healing, despite its chaotic and intricate nature, remains within reach. In the depths of my sorrow, I lingered too long on the shadows of what had slipped away, neglecting the flicker of possibility that still awaited discovery. Enveloped in his embrace, I finally permitted myself to entertain the notion that life could still unveil unforeseen beauty, even in the wake of profound sorrow, and perhaps, just perhaps, I was prepared to seek it once more. The morning light seeped gently into the room, illuminating the disheveled sheets and the residual warmth of the previous night. I stirred slightly, half anticipating the solitude of waking alone, half preparing for the familiar emptiness that had settled in as my constant companion. Yet Jason remained, his arm enveloping me in a protective embrace, his breath a calm and rhythmic presence against my hair. For a fleeting moment, I surrendered to the warmth of that embrace, suspending all questions and doubts, simply allowing myself to feel. Even as my body melted into his embrace, my mind commenced its restless disarray. Reality, as ever, insisted on recognition. I had aged, bearing the scars of a lifetime filled with experiences that he could never truly grasp. What we experienced last night was undeniably beautiful, even sacred, yet the question lingers. Could it endure beyond the delicate cocoon we had woven around ourselves in the shadows? Fear seeped in gradually, stealthily, saturating the fissures of my heart with a chilling doubt. Jason stirred, attuned to my unease, and his fingers glided softly along my arm. "Penny for your thoughts," he murmured, his voice heavy with th.